Hey guys, what's up? Spencer from Periphery here, and I'm with Scott Segusa of All Things Periphery, and we're going to do 22 questions right now. So let's get right into it. All right, the first question is from Jeff Holinko. It's how did you manage to get yourself into Periphery? And that's kind of a long question. I'm going to try and sum it up as quickly as I can here. So I think it was back in 2008 when Casey Sable quit the band. I caught wind of them on MySpace like around those days, and I was like, man, this band's really sick. I'm looking for a band to sing in, so I auditioned for them. And through a bunch of auditions, I made it to like the last kind of round, as you will. And the other guy was Chris Barretto, and the band had seen Chris Barretto live, so they're like, oh, we know he can do it, and he can sing live, so we're going to go with this guy, because I lived out on the opposite side of the country on the West Coast. But after that year he was in the band, I guess they just didn't really gel together, and I got an email from Misha like a year later being like, "Hey man, are you still available? Because we want to fly you out and audition you in person." So I did that, and ever since then I've been in the band since I think it was late 2009. All right, second question from this is a tough one. Bhargava Dutt. How do you take care of your voice on the road? It's really hard to take care of your voice properly on the road. Like there are things you can do, like I warm up properly and make sure I'm not talking too loud throughout like the first half of the day before the show starts. Um, Obviously, like not drinking alcohol is great for you. I'm not going to say I don't do it. It's really hard not to do on the road, and like when you're around music and playing shows with all your friends and stuff. That and smoking cigarettes are definitely hard on your voice. I do everything in moderation. I'm not saying you can't do anything, but just do it in moderation and make sure that you're warming up properly. That's probably the most important thing, and getting enough sleep for sure. The third one is from Zachary Munowitz. It's what tips can you give for singers looking to expand their vocal range? I think that one is as simple as just singing along to songs that are out of your range. That's what I did. Like when I first found out about Periphery and like Casey's songs, I couldn't even sing as high as he could, and I would just try and push my voice and sing along with it. And over time, it just expanded and expanded. Like you can even stretch your low range down if you're doing it enough. Your voice is a muscle and it gets used to it. So just do it. Just do it a lot. All right. 4. Ren Soren. What is your favorite part of being in a band such as Periphery? Probably being on the road and meeting new fans and seeing their faces. Like when we're up on stage doing our thing, there's no greater feeling, almost no greater feeling than you touching somebody's life in such a way that they want to be out in the crowd singing along with you. Like something that you've created. It's one of the coolest feelings ever. That's probably my favorite part of being in Periphery. All right, 5. Johan Martin. What do your family and loved ones think about your music? That's funny. Most of my family probably don't like the music, but they're very supportive. They've never told me, you should be doing something else and, chase something else. They've always known that this is what I want to do, so they've never told me not to do it. So they're very supportive. All right, 6. Kyle Myers. Where do you look for inspiration or lyrical themes? For lyrical themes, rather. Movies, literature, current events, life experiences. Pretty much just life experiences and what I'm feeling at the moment. Because I don't want the lyrics to come across as not being genuine. I feel like if you're putting art out there that lasts forever, you want it to mean something, and especially to yourself. So I don't like to try and force lyrics. That's something I used to do back in the day, and I don't do it anymore. If I'm not feeling inspired, I take a step away, maybe for a day or two, and then come back, and whatever's going on in my head or my life at that point in time will inspire me if it's the right thing. All right, 7. Adrian Alvarez. Can you tell us the story of Juggernaut in its entirety? Whew! Take a deep breath. I'll sum it up as quickly as I can and as detailed as I can in that time. So, in a nutshell, it's about this guy who's born into a satanic cult. I was inspired by a lot of horror movies in that style, like Rosemary's Baby, and I was watching a show called True Detective at the time, so it kind of inspired the whole like cult aspect, and I wanted it to feel like a horror movie. It's like a horror movie record kind of thing. So it starts out with this guy who's born into a satanic cult, and they brainwash him obviously, and he grows up being around it to where he's at the point where they start having him do things for them, tasking like killing and going out and doing other things in the world like as he can as a teenager to influence other people, but in a very tight-knit kind of community. And so he gets a conscience at one point, and he is like, why am I doing this? I want to experience the real world for what it is and be a part of it. So he goes out into the real world and he escapes, through a lot of hard efforts, and goes out into the real world, lives for a few years, around when he's like 17 or 18 or so. And that's like kind of the middle of the record where this like turning point happens to where like he has like multiple personality disorder because of how he's been tortured and brainwashed as a child. So he's out there and realizes that he can't cope with the pressure of living as a normal person in the real world, and ends up pretty much going insane, and then tries going back. And they don't just accept him back right away. They torture him, and they punish him for leaving and causing all the damage that he had to their cult before. So he comes back, and they punish him and kind of demote him. And in that point in time, after that, there's another person. He's like working the jail cells and like their cult jail, if you will. And there's a lady who was like the priestess of their cult, who kind of had the same feeling that he did. She developed a conscience to where she just didn't want to do it anymore, and she tried escaping, but they got her. They didn't let her escape. So she's in the prison cell, and she knows that if she can try and make him fall in love with her, that she might be able to get out. So that's like the whole priestess part of the story, where she's trapped in this prison, and the main character is like the guard to this. He's been demoted to like guarding the jail cells because he's a dipshit for dipping out, So she tries to make him fall in love with her, which he does. She doesn't actually love him, but she does it just so she can get out. And he's about to let her out when they execute her. They execute her like the morning of the day that he's supposed to like have a thing with her, where she gets out and they both escape and like run free. But they execute her, and then he is so pissed off about that after that. And this is like the graveless part of the story, to where he murders a bunch of people in the cult and tries to take it down, and then kills himself because he doesn't want to live anymore without her. And that's when he goes into the afterlife and kind of like this hell dimension because of the life he's lived and how all the terrible things he's done. He's gone into like the negative energy of the universe. And in that point in time, his whole life flashes before his eyes, and he realizes that he just needed love in his life to kind of find out what life is all about. And then he kind of repents for all the things he's done and makes a deal with a spirit of the underworld to transcend into the next life and be reborn instead of staying in hell or whatever it is. I don't actually believe in a hell. I'm not like religious or Christian or anything like that. It was just kind of a cool aspect of the story I thought to throw in afterwards. And then you don't really know what happens after that. He ascends to some other place in the universe. Who knows if he's being reborn or if, whatever. We'll touch on that if we do like a follow-up to the record. Who knows what's going to happen. But that's it in a nutshell. Wow. That was long. Whew. We good? Okay. Okay, so 8. What's up, man?
It's not happening.
Sorry, did I wake you up?
Right now, I'm just way too tired to talk to the camera right now. Are you doing the interview?
Yeah, did I wake you? We can finish it tomorrow.
No, you didn't wake me at all. I just heard voices, so I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man. I didn't know anyone was here.
I'm just I was laying on my bed Snapchat, looking at my Snapchats and falling asleep without hurt people. Right.
Yeah, we're just doing the 22 questions. We just got through 7, so.
Yeah. Sick. That's awesome. Well, I hope you guys have a great evening.
All right, man.
I'm going to go to bed. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're West Coast. I forgot. Slap pound is how they do it.
Slap pound, dude.
All right, night.
Good night.
Straight Compton.
Matt Tornham. How long will you make us wait? Your willing fans. How long will you make us, your willing fans, wait for an official Mothership release? Any details you can provide about it? I don't really know. There's nothing I can really give you at this point in time about it. I wrote pretty much an entire record, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I never got a chance to get into the studio and record it properly with other bandmates or anything. And it's something that I'm not really inspired. It's material I'm not really inspired by at this point in my life, but maybe at some point we'll revisit it and record it the way it's supposed to be recorded. But at this point in time, there's no plan of that.
Fuck you, Spencer. Put that in there.
All right, number nine. Samir Suri. Facepalm Mute is awesome. Can we expect more songs written by you instrumentally with Periphery? Maybe in the future. I'm not an amazing guitar player, but I do write sometimes. I actually wrote some of the riffs that are on Catch Fire with the guys. That was the first song that was written for this record, like specifically for the record. And that was me, Mark, and Misha, I believe, just jamming in his house. I had a couple riff ideas for like choruses and pre-choruses, and they had like the verse, so that was cool. We wrote that together. But yeah, probably in the future, maybe I'll have an idea here or there. Taylor Santalucia. What are some things that people don't know about you? I like Pokemon a lot. I grew up with it. And Scott can attest to this. We did like a break-off class here today at the camp. And my part of the camp was taking the campers down to the nearest Pokemon stop. And we caught Pokemon on our phones all day over there. And talked about singing tips. It was really cool. So yeah, you may not know I like Pokemon, but I do. Michelle Sevilla. Michelle Sevilla, okay. If you hadn't become a singer, what would you think you'd be? Probably a producer. I like producing. That's what I do in my spare time. Like when I'm not on the road, not doing anything with Periphery, I spend my time in the studio producing bands. I love doing it. All right. 12. Ashray Shiva. What tips would you give an up-and-coming musician to spread out their material? Play as many shows as you can and do a good job of marketing yourself online and having a good look, a good sound, a good original sound. I think those are the most important things. 13, Sean Zetz. What is your favorite Periphery song to listen in or perform to? I'd say right now, probably Remain Indoors. I think it's the most fun song to sing off of the new record. We've been practicing it. Love it. All right. 14, Laura Silberman. What is your best fan memory? Best fan memory. That's hard because there's so many. I don't think I could give you a straight answer on that, to be honest. Too many. Harrison Karsh. If you had to pick a song off of each album that you are most proud of vocally, which ones would you choose and why? Man, that's a long one. So off the first record, probably Jetpacks is Yes, because that's the only song on that record I wrote in its entirety for vocals. So definitely that off that record. Periphery 2, that's a tough one. Maybe The Gods Must Be Crazy. I think that's one of the ones that came together like at the last minute, and it was just like the spur of the moment thing. But I did a good job of putting it together in the time I had, and that's always kind of the ones that sticks out in my mind. I love that song off that record. Off of Juggernaut, probably Psychosphere. It's my favorite one to sing live, and it seems like the crowd loves to sing it along too. So that's definitely mine off that record. And then off the new record, either Remain Indoors or Loon. Both of those. Favorite songs to listen off those. Let's see. What is the meaning behind... Okay, this is Isaac Black. What is the meaning behind Flatline? Is it about anyone or anything specific? Nobody that I know, but it's, in a nutshell, about like suicide awareness and bullying. Like you never know... who you're pushing to do what when you treat them in a way you shouldn't be. So treat everybody the right way. 17, Pierre Touron. What is the most challenging part of being the vocalist in Periphery? Probably the fact that I have to scream and sing back and forth a lot on tour, and it's hard to keep my voice in good shape, especially when there's not many days off in a week. Usually we'll tour and we'll play 6 songs in a row before we get a night off. I'd say that's probably the most challenging part, is dealing with how my voice reacts to what I'm doing, like all the screaming and singing and stuff. In a live setting. 18, Jordan Laukend. Do you have any other life aspirations besides Periphery? Yes, like I touched on earlier, producing. That's probably what I'm going to do when I retire, honestly, because I love doing it so much. 19, Edward Smith. What has been the greatest obstacle that you've had to overcome as a musician? Um, I'd say probably being completely confident in what I'm doing, and I'm still not even there. It's really hard to let go, as a singer, like performing in front of tons of people and being that center of attention when you're on stage or whatever. It's been a hard time letting go and not thinking about all of that and just being able to just kind of envelop myself in the music. So yeah, I would say that. 20, Tyler Bow. What is the biggest piece of advice you can give someone to help them succeed in life? Be a genuine person. Don't be fake. Don't be mean. Always be nice. I'd say those are probably the two best pieces of advice I can give you. Everybody will love you. 21, Brittney Lottie. How does it make you feel, or what goes through your mind when you have a fan come up to you and tell you that your music has helped them through a difficult time or even helped them save their life? I am one of those people, and I just want to say thank you, because what you and the rest of the guys do means a lot to me, and your music has helped me through some very difficult times. That is one of the best feelings that you could ever have as a human being, like knowing that something so small you've done can affect somebody in such a positive way to where it saves their life. Like, my music doesn't even mean that much to me, so for it to do something like that to somebody else, it's not even what you think about when you set out to do this as a musician, and getting that in return for the work that you put in, it's priceless. Like, you can't put a price on it. It's the best feeling ever, seriously. And last but not least, 22, Warner Erkelins. What do you think about ATP in general, and why? I think it's a great thing. I want to thank my man Scott Sagusa over here for running it, setting it up, and working so close with all the fans and with us and bridging that thing together. It's been awesome. I know I'm not present on Facebook there, but I do see and hear about what you read because I get texts from some of the guys, and Scott tells me about it, so I know what you guys are saying out there. So watch your mouth. Yeah. So that was 22 questions with me, Spencer from Periphery, and Scott Sagusa. Yeah. See you later.